What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing today? It's Short Fry here, and today I'm bringing you a gameplay on Discovery using the Stoner, but I really don't want to talk about this gameplay. Today I really want to talk about life in general, and I really want to talk about kids and how the future generation is going to be affected by money and gangs and things like that. And first I want to talk about money. If you grow up with your kid giving them everything they want, everything they ask for, basically spoiling them, you're not going to let them get the skills they need to move on in life. If you think about it, a child is kind of like a butterfly. A butterfly starts off in a cocoon, and then a small sliver in the cocoon opens, and then the butterfly has to use its wings to push itself out. In doing that, it lets the blood flow, and it gives it strength in its wings so it can fly away after it's completed the task of exiting its cocoon. And so it can fly with the other people and join in with the community of butterflies, I suppose. And if you truly think about it, kids are kind of like that too. If you give them everything they want, they are never going to be able to break out of their cocoon and fly. But yeah, I mean, that's a problem with nowadays. You're either spoiling them or you're not giving them enough attention. But we'll get into that here in a little bit. What I really want to talk about was a couple instances of this. One was about a child. I'd say about back in I found these stories relating to this topic of the butterflies and the cocoon and how it affects your children and how it affects the future generations. And I found a couple stories on it, and I really wanted to tell them to you guys. And the only reason I'm making this commentary is because I was really motivated by this. It motivated me to read this, and I decided I'd go ahead and post it. Upload it. So here it is. There's a kid back in the 30s. When ice cream sundaes used to cost a lot less. He walked in and he asked how much a sundae was, and the cashier said it was 50 cents. So he sat there counting his change, making sure he had enough, and then he asked how much a regular plain ice cream was. And the waitress, there's a lot of customers behind, so the waitress said it in a mean way. She just said it's 35 cents, kid. That's basically what she said. And so he said, okay, I'll take the plain ice cream. So he took the plain ice cream and he ate it and he had a good time and he gave the cashier the money. And on the table he left 2 nickels and 5 pennies, which would have gave him 50 cents in order to get the sundae. He didn't get the sundae, so he could leave the waitress a tip. And if you think it's not that big, but if you think about it, I mean, not a lot of people nowadays will give something up of their own to give someone else something. And that's the way I like to think of the butterfly. I don't want to say butterfly effect because that movie does not even relate to this, but it's kind of like that kind of. No, it's not like the butterfly effect. It's kind of like the butterfly cocoon thing I've been talking about. And if you raise your kid like that, if you raise them to be honorable and treat people with respect, then they will be like that. They will give up their things for other people's benefits. I mean, if you think about it now, how many people do you know would have done that? I mean, I'm not even sure if I would do that. I mean, but on to the next story. This one's about a kid. There's a little girl who had a deadly disease, and if she couldn't find the antibodies, if her body wouldn't form the antibodies, she would die from this disease. So, and her little brother luckily had the same disease, not luckily, but he had the same disease about 5 months ago, and he had to overcome it because his body had created those antibodies. So the doctor asked if he could take some of his blood for a blood transfusion to his sister, so that his sister could create those antibodies to keep her alive. And so what the kid did, he laid on the table, smiled at his sister, and he asked the doctor he basically asked the doctor if he was gonna die right away. The boy had misunderstood what the doctor had said. He thought he was gonna have to give her all her blood and die for her. He was willing to give up his own life for somebody else's, and I know it's family, but even in family it's hard to see something like that nowadays. And a kid's doing that. A kid. There are barely any adults who would do that. I'd do that for my sister just because she raised me, with my mother. It was her and my mother who raised me. I was raised around women, and that's where I got my respect towards women. That's where I've always respected women. I've always treated them not as a higher power, but as I really don't know how to say it. But I respect them. Let's just keep it at that. And back to the kid. I mean, if he's gonna, that's just amazing how a kid's willing to do that for a sister. He's willing to die for another one's life.
No.
And nowadays,
I think I did it last
it's,
night.
you just won't see that a lot.
I mean,
But
well,
let's get back into the subject of the kids in general. That's gonna happen. That's not gonna happen a lot anymore in these days and age. You're not gonna see a lot of kids who are gonna be willing to sacrifice something. I mean, I go to Walmart and see little kids crying because they didn't get a piece of candy, and that's normal. That's normal nowadays for kids not getting what they want. But that's because the parents always gave them what they want. And if you give kids all whatever they want, it's gonna be harder to stop giving them what they want, if that makes sense. I mean,
either way,
if you give a kid a piece of candy every time he has a piece of candy, like 50 days in a row, and then one day you say, I think it's time to cut on the candy, he's gonna flip out. He's not gonna want that. He's not gonna want anything to do with that idea. And that's kind of how that's kind of how life is in general. If you raise a kid like that, give him everything he wants, and then when he's 18 and you cut him off and he has to get his own job, he's not gonna want to do that. He's not want to get a job. He's not gonna want to create his own life. He's basically gonna want to live with his parents his whole life and live off them and not have to do a single thing. And that's what this day and age is about. It's all about raising children. It's all about the future generations. That's why it's really important that we watch how people raise their kids and how they do it. I mean, you have to keep your kids. You can't let your kids go all the way. That sounded terrible. You can't let them go all the way, like in the sense that they can do whatever they want. But you also can't let them. You have to let them free, but you can't give them too much freedom. That's what I'm saying. You have to keep them on a leash. Not a real leash, like a metaphor. You have to keep them on a metaphorical leash, but you can't let it go. You can let it go as far as you want, as you as a parent feel fit, but you cannot let that leash go, or those kids are going to feel like they can do whatever they want. But if you keep it at a perfect distance, you have the perfect stability between having power over them and giving them what they want every once in a while. It's important to not let them have some things and let them have other, because those balance the kid out. Those are the type of things, so sometimes you have a good parent and a bad parent, and it turns out it end up raising the perfect kid because of the different types of personalities that parents had, and that's basically how it is nowadays. And that's really my take. I just saw the story and it really motivated me, so I decided I was going to go ahead and make a video about it. And yeah, here it is. I got about a minute left of this, but I really don't think I'm gonna finish. I might put some music at the end or something. But I really do think I'm gonna start doing these a lot more. Commentaries with a purpose, not just random rambling. I like to put my opinion across. This is my opinion. This is not fact. You may not agree with it, but it's my opinion, so I obviously agree with it. So this is my opinion. I'm putting it out there. If you guys agree, then go ahead. I'm glad you agree. That's all I'm gonna say. But if you guys can go ahead and do me a favor. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this what I'm doing now, go ahead and like this video for me. It's really gonna help me out a lot and let me know what I'm gonna do with future commentaries. If you also be sure to subscribe if you want to see more of this. Alright guys, that's about it. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Love you.